Dispatch episodes 5 and 6 are a great reflection of how the past few days for me have been chaotic, unexpected, and just a lot. I'd like to apologize that this is coming out the day of episodes 7 and 8 coming out, so I know this video probably won't reach a shit ton of people. I do apologize, but for the completionist in me, I really wanted to get a video done. So I'm going to condense what I had in my script down into probably a much shorter, simpler video. Talk about sort of the themes more of episodes 5 and 6, rather than a full-on discussion, and talk about where I think the series is going to end. I'll briefly go over a little bit of based on the playthrough that I did with Droid. I'll very, very briefly be that, but I wanted to get a video out. Again, I'm so sorry that this one took a little bit longer. It's just been a lot. Next week, I will be putting out something that is very much larger. Probably will have more of the hotshot video editing that I like to do. But for now, let's talk about episodes 5 and 6. And I apologize if this video doesn't really have much in it. It is 3:50 in the morning, and I have to be out of here by about 10 a.m. So let's see what we can do. So I very much enjoyed this episode and sort of the more grounding of the elements of found family, especially after the whole bar brawl scene that we get this episode, where the gang of Z crew and not Z crew, Z team are just sort of hanging out and just invite Robert out, and it's so nice, you know, from the little bits where, you know, Robert brings drinks to everyone, especially for Gollum, who's just, you know, sitting outside the bar because he's too big, and he gives it to the bouncer. It just shows Robert's sort of character as a person in this world, and there are a lot of these moments sprinkled throughout Dispatch that I really love the fact that they are not just, you know, as much as people want to do the evil route, I think Robert in and of himself is built as this morally lawful good sort of character. I had this conversation with my friend Zork about this a little bit more in depth. If you guys would like, I could always bring him on to, you know, discuss Dispatch in depth. That would be, I think, a fun thing we might do on stream, if you guys want to see that, of course. But again, you know, I love this sort of element that the team is bonding and growing closer, so much closer that you can actually choose in this episode if you want to either reveal your identity yourself, or if you want to just sort of stay anonymous. Anonymous? Is that the word? I don't know. And I think that's really cool that no matter what path you pick, I think this episode shows you that Dispatch doesn't really necessarily have some sort of negative ending necessarily, more a sort of choice on how you want the story to unfold. There's no positive or negative route to get railroaded into, because I think the story overall with this episode shows us that Ad Hoc didn't just put all their eggs into one basket for one route. They really spent their time crafting all these different paths that really can, you know, show you these wonderful stories that, yeah, they might have some similar beats, but they can give you such a rewarding experience no matter which way you go. Especially with the fact that we learn all the members of Z-Team's name, which again, really, really cool. I love the fact that Waterboy's name is Herm. That just fits so fucking well. And of course, you know, we learn more about Flambe. We learn more about Mecha Man and his relationship with him. And, you know, I love the fact that we cut off Flambe's fingers. It feels so vindicative to know that we fucked him up, you know? I love that so much. And I love the fact that Gollum and the rest of Z-Team are ready to, like, tell Flambe to kick rocks because, you know, they enjoy Robert. They like who he is as a person. And that shows going into episode 6, where they all, depending again if you should tell the team about you being Mecha Man or not, they, you know, they're all there to sort of support you, and of course lose $936 to be able to see that Robert is Mecha Man. And you know, you do your test with the suit, you know, you've got the fake astral pulse, and you know, of course, the purple smoke machine. Wait a minute, we didn't plug in the smoke machine. And Royd the goat, being the goat, you know, going in, trying to you know, save Robert, but unfortunately he and Robert kind of take a bit of a blow because the suit sort of just explodes, and Royd is sort of in this negative headspace. And it shows, I think, that Royd is personally, again, one of my favorite characters, because he has actually genuinely gone through the sort of Phoenix program, I guess you would call it, and he's, you know, really trying to do good. He's really trying to be supportive of Robert and his goal to be able to be Mecha. And since he can't make the man Mecha again, you know, he feels this sort of very sad and human response to failure after failure after failure and sort of feeling very beaten down. I've had this many times in my life where I've felt this way of defeat, but, later on we do find that him and the Z team are actually able to possibly locate the astral pulse that does power the suit, and it ends up leading into this nice sort of housewarming party for Robert, even though I think he's probably lived there for a while. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Not the point. Things are going well. We get a nice little scene between him and Vizzy where they're kind of all, of course, depending on your choices, you might have done something with Blonde Blazer. Not the point. I'm basing mine off of the playthrough I edited. You guys know this. And I love, again, the sort of deepening of the relationship between him and Vizzy. Although, Ad Hoc, you are teasing us. Fuck you for not giving us a smoochy scene yet. Fuck you. We then get this major blowout, which I love that Chase feels sort of like this old guard sort of type hero, and we sort of get to see the dynamic of he doesn't really think that people can really change at their core, because he still very much vehemently hates Invisigal and doesn't trust her. But Robert's more young, and he's like very much the new wave of heroes, I guess you could, because he is third generation of Mecha Man technically. So I think he's got more of an open-mindedness, while you get to see this sort of older generation mentality where sometimes people aren't as trusting because lack of information, lack of social experiences that more people that are younger and sort of closer to this time period can sort of have. Not everybody's like this, obviously, in life, but I like this sort of mentality that we're going for here. The blowout does hit its high point. Chase, in this circumstance, if you did not reveal to the Z team yourself that, you're Mecha Man, this is the moment where it, again, hits so hard, and the team's kind of like, oh shit, what the fuck? And I love the fact that again, it doesn't feel like a railroaded decision. It feels like it was going to come out either way, but depending on how you do it, it sort of can swap around the perspective that Z-Team may have on you. Maybe it's they all respect you, but maybe they respect you more for saying it. I don't know. We'll have to see how the future plays out for this. Party ends. Chase and Robert sort of make up, talk about it, and he explains his mentality. He explains the thought process he has, and Robert gives him the sort of insight. Then there's a fart gag, which I will admit is probably the only thing I don't love about this whole game, but it is minimal compared to all the high quality shit. But of course, we can't end the episodes without some sort of busy sort of thing to go. So Invisigal had actually, went to the place where the astral pulse is most likely located. All the villains and such are fighting. You have to help her get to the place where it's being held in some safe, and you gotta do some hacking mini games, yada yada yada. And then it all goes silent. Shroud comes out and kicks the shit out of Vizzy. Freaking out, we're trying to figure out what's gonna happen, and hold on, wait, why is beef in our lap?
Keep up.
This is, I think, my favorite scene, the entire franchise of Dispatch so far. Because let's face it, I think we're getting a season 2, but I love the scene for 2 reasons. One, because it's written as this sort of final moment for Chase, which, again, we'll get into in a split second. But it shows that even with Chase and his perspective of Invisigal and how he kind of will always view her in this sort of negative light, he is still hero at the end of the day. He is still this good person that wants to do good, and, he sees that she's in danger, and without even giving it a second thought, he puts his life on the line for someone that he absolutely despises. And he sadly pays the price with it, which, again, I love this sort of philosophical angle that we have going on in Dispatch. It is probably one of my favorite thoughts because we're playing a superhero game, but we're pretty much also teaching an ethics class as well. And I love ethics. It's one of my go-to things. Ethics, philosophy, all this. It's so interesting to get into conversations of the mind. I really absolutely love it to death. So this is how I think we're going to end the series. I think that Shroud obviously is building some weapon of some kind that could wipe out the area in which Robert and the rest of the gang are, working and sitting in. And I think that we are going to have a few different choices of how we're going to be able to handle this situation. It could be that we're going to possibly have to sacrifice our life. Possibly people on Z-Team are going to die if we don't make, enough quick time decisions and moments to really choose what we're going to do. We might even just lose someone regardless, And honestly, I'm somewhat not convinced that Chase is dead. Most likely he probably is, but I think there's going to be one more moment we're going to get where maybe he's in the hospital and we get to have one more conversation with him and Robert and maybe even Invisigal where he forgives her. I don't quite know, but I think that everything I'm seeing is that this game is going to continue to subvert expectation, and I think it's going to treat it like life because, you know, while sometimes we get those high points in our lives, sometimes life is messy. You know, again, like I said at the very top of this past week, or past couple days, I should say, have been just so messy for me. It has been a very chaotic thing. I haven't gotten to really do much, but what I will tell you is, you know, I embrace that every single day, and I think that the game overall is going to further exemplify the realness of life. You know, that sometimes people are going to get hurt, people are going to, you know, eventually not be with us anymore, and it's up to us to make good choices to, you know, do the best we can in life. You know, we're gonna make mistakes, but I think that if anything, episodes 7 and 8 are going to show us fully the idea that life is life. It's unpredictable, it's chaotic, but we can either let it wash over us completely and we get swept out to sea, or we can choose to embrace the chaos and, you know, find moments and pockets where we can, you know, not have everything flying around. You know what I mean? I know it's a little messy, the metaphor, but you get it. I'm very excited to see how the series will end today, and I've been just really enjoying this. I do apologize again that this took a couple of days to get out to you guys, but again, like I said, it's been a little weird recently. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I was right or if I was wrong with how the series ends. Let me know if you guys think we're gonna get a season 2 of Dispatch. If we do, I would love to do this again, doing week-to-week content. It would be a lot of fun for me. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys do enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below any of your theories or comments or anything you want to contradict on me here. I'd love to get a conversation going. And of course, if you really want to support the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure if you want to become a member to help out the channel, helps us fund some more fun, big projects that we would love to do in the future here. And yeah, that's about it. I will see you guys next time. Have a good day, night, or evening, wherever you may be. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.